Welcome back to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin, Sambois.
So, we are super excited. We're always excited. I got to come up with a different way.
We're always excited. That's a good tagline.
We're always excited. And I don't know that we're always excited, but then when we get to do fun stuff like this,
we're excited to be here.
We're excited to be here.
Yes.
That's a great point of clarification. So, as you may have heard in the last episode, the last episode was our 100th anniversary, 100th episode. And so thank you so much for everyone who's been listening. Once again, I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
And we have been spending this now second episode talking. So this is episode 101. Talking about our newest venture, our exciting project, a birth really of love and all the things, and it's really the beginning of the journey. And so, as you may or may not heard, if you were at our book launch last week, Maylin and I co-authored a book called The Journey from Who You Are to Who You're Meant to Be, which is now presently on Amazon, and you can get it on Kindle, and eventually it will make its way into bookstores. So if you know somebody that owns a bookstore or you own a bookstore and you want to have this book in your store, please feel free to reach out to us at info@trueprintforlife.com.
Yes, and you want it in your bookstore. So you don't have to think about it. You want it, just reach out to us, right? DM us, and we're happy to talk to you. And I mean, this episode 101 is about a week or so right after we just launched our amazing book. And we had this great event, right? So if you were there, we're so grateful. Thank you. And if you didn't get a chance to make it, that's okay.
You can still connect with us. Yes, and we're going to have, we have some dates coming out. And so there is going to be something in October that I have to update you on.
Oh, yay. Yeah. We're doing a book tour.
We're going to be doing a small book tour here in Central Ohio. But if you want to invite us out to a conference or an event or something you're having that's close in proximity to Ohio, we are definitely open to traveling.
Yes, I love traveling. Yes. I just need some advance notice. I have a 2.5-year-old.
Right.
And that's all.
Yes. And so if you haven't heard our last episode, circle back, listen to that. It'll give you a little more background as to what prompted us to write the book, kind of the inspiration behind it. And today I want to talk a little bit more about the themes of the book. I think that is so critically important. It's just a great read. It's a short read, which was really important to us not to overdo it. So it's 10 chapters, a little over. It's exactly 170 pages. It fits in your purse. So we were intentional about the sizing so that if you're going to the beach or you're just, looking to go have a read at the park or whatever, it'll fit in your bag nicely. Obviously, you can choose to get a hardback or a paperback.
Or Kindle.
Yeah, or a Kindle,
right? If you're traveling in a plane,
get you a Kindle. And so the themes of this book were really important to us because as we mentioned in the last episode, kind of the thought, the reflection, the intention that went into writing the journey. And a big part of what you will find in terms of major themes are really geared towards self-discovery. That I would say is probably one of the bigger themes of the book, in addition to mindset, resilience, alignment, understanding that, we are all on a journey. And I told somebody the other day, regardless of where you are, life is a journey and you're always in different parts of the journey. And so I'm really excited that we were able to put all of our thoughts and experiences and tips and tools for now in this book. And so, so that if you're thinking is this book right for me? What are the themes? Those I would say are our top themes.
Yes. And I think, I believe that you can always learn something from everything. We love reading. And I feel our love for reading and listening to books and listening to podcasts and all of those things, retreats that we absolutely love participating and also actually facilitating. And soon we're going to have a new future, some retreats for people because we love them so much. And I think everybody should have a retreat option or experience. So if you're going through anything, grabbing this book, I feel it's going to give you the next step. And we say that because I don't know where you are right now, right? We don't know what part of life you're in or where, your life is. We're hoping that this book will meet you where you are. We're hoping that wherever you're facing right now, whether it be a transition from a professional or personal, if you're feeling a little stuck, or it's just the outside external forces of the media and everything that's happening globally is affecting you, we hope that this book is going to bring a little bit of light into your life and also help you take the next step. Many times we talked about in previous episodes, taking the next step is so hard, especially if you're feeling stuck.
Yeah.
So when you read this book, we know that you'll be inspired, but also you will have actionable items that you can practice that will help you get to the next step, whatever the next step is for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, which really ties into chapter 1 of the book. Chapter 1 is titled My Current Self versus My Future Self. And in the chapter, Maylin and I talk a little bit about, obviously who you are now or even who you were 10 years ago. Ideally, you should be growing. You should be, really thinking about things in different ways, finding opportunities, new experiences. And one of the parts of the chapter, it talks about the power of knowing your why. And I think, as Maylin mentioned, like regardless of what season you're in, really being able to spend some time thinking about why do you do certain things? Why do you do the work that you do? Why do you engage with certain people? Why do you like the music you like? Because oftentimes when you are in that storm or you're feeling like things are a little chaotic or overwhelming, it's important to use that why as your guiding star to offer you clarity, offer you direction, offer you next steps. And I think like as mothers, as business partners, as people who are responsible for so many folks, oftentimes it can feel very overwhelming and you're just like, why do I, why me? And instead of really being like, no, I get the opportunity to do these things. I get the opportunity to be a mother. I get the opportunity to run an organization. I get the opportunity to write a book. So where sometimes things can feel so overwhelming and so daunting, and maybe that day it is, and that's the day you just need to be able to pause and say, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to get a massage, or I'm going to go, whatever kind of that reset button looks like for you.
Yeah.
That's okay to do, but understanding that really being clear about your why is what brings you back in the moments and the times where it feels chaotic and overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think for the longest, like I asked myself, what is my why? And it would be a super surface level answer, right? I want to make more money, or I want to provide for this, right? And I think all of us that do it, right? Like we just, what is your why? And you come up with the first thing that comes to your mind. And many times that is not your why, right? Like you have to go 7 levels deep. And I remember I came across this book that I was reading from Dan Grossi, I think it was, and he had this exercise, which we actually share with you in the book, about how many levels you have to go into this question to truly find your why. And I was so excited when I figured it out. I called Christina. I was like, we're going to do this together. She's like, okay. And so anytime I find something great, I'm like, Christina's the next one. They're going to get the call or the message or the reel, okay? And vice versa, right? So I love that. And we did it together. And it was, to me, a little bit mind-blowing to go that deep and figure out what our why was, right?
Yeah.
And it rooted to like, our families. It rooted to like our mothers. And
so true. I remember that text message now. I was like, what text message was that? But now I remember.
Why? But why? You're like, girl, you asked me about why 5 times. I'm like,
right.
oh, why?
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Now that you say that, I remember that thread. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, so then once we finished the levels, like, this is our why. Like, we're doing this, right, because of our mother's experience, and we never want to experience. We don't want other people to experience. Like, when you go that deep, then your why is really clear, it's really focused, and it helps you kind of move forward into how do you navigate that. Because what it is then, a lot of things that are not contributing to your why or part of your why or going to help you with your why, like you can start discarding, like, okay, because if you don't have clarity, now for someone passionate like me, everything is amazing. Okay, like I am so passionate. I love a lot of things. Figuring out my why and what my next steps are. And even when Christina sits down with me, she's like, what is it that you want? Like even that question when, being a Latina, sometimes you don't, growing up where your voice was not heard or not matter, getting that question sometimes is a little bit like, a stocking, like, what do you mean? What I want? I'm like, I want everybody to be happy. No, but what do you want, right? Yeah. And I appreciate that because that really helps. But you really sometimes cannot even get to what you want when you don't even understand your purpose. So we had to go deep with that to understand our purpose, which is why we grind, how we grind, because we have a purpose. We know our purpose. We want to continue to pursue that and being flexible enough as God wants it to be flexible and pivot if we have to. But then once I have my purpose, and then you figure out what you want, then you have clarity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's confusing. That's where we get stuck. This is where we can move forward because we don't know what our why is, and we don't know what our purpose is.
Right.
And we're just stuck, right? So I feel like that chapter really, as we reflected in it, it kind of gives you that. But to get to that, you have to have time.
Right.
You have to create time. And many times we're like, we don't have time. I don't have no time. That's what I hear a lot. I don't have no time. And I used to say that. And then I went into my phone because, there's an app, I'm sure you have it, like there's a feature on your phone that tells you how many hours you spend on certain apps. So if I don't have time, but I'm in a certain app for hours, then you do have time.
Yeah.
You just have to not be on that Instagram or that TikTok or that Facebook or that whatever app it is, YouTube, because you can get lost in the loop. I go in to watch something, and before I know, 30 minutes, an hour have passed. I watch 100 videos and quotes and motivational things. So that hour I could have used to work on my life. I could have used to work on my why.
Right.
I could have used to work on my purpose and align some goals. So I had to come, #real with me and be like, you don't got time. Okay, well, let's see what you're doing then. And I had to get a calendar, and I had to get an agenda. I carry it with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you wake up at this time. What are you doing at that time? Like being intentional what you're doing, not to be rigid, but you have to tell your mind what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or she is going to get distracted with all the little dingling, sparkling things that social media has to offer.
Absolutely. No, I think you're so spot on because, and especially with social media, I mean, it's a tool, right? We're
here now.
Right. I'm like, social media is definitely a tool that I feel like I appreciate at times for all kinds of different personal reasons, business reasons, but it can very quickly become a distraction. So to your earlier point, you'll log in to look at something real quick and you've been on there an hour. Sometimes I'll be in bed and I can't sleep and I'll toss and turn a bit. I'm like, oh, let me just scroll. It be 1 a.m. Yes. I'm like, girl, you got to get up in 6 hours. You better go to sleep.
And I know because I see you're online.
I'm online. I'm over there looking at clothes. I'm looking at concerts. I'm like dancing in there. I'm just doing the absolute everything but what I'm supposed to be doing, which is sleeping. And then I wake up the next morning so tired. And I'm just like, there's nobody to blame but yourself because you was on TikTok all night.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what you were saying, just like the discipline, right? Like some of us, and I say us because I think even I was in this, like you could be so, you can be so stuck on just searching for motivation. Right. Like, just motivate me. Tell me what to do. So like, girl,
where's the magic?
Right. Like, I mean, how many of us, and I say us because like on occasion I'm still that person, but it's just like, how many inspirational videos do you need to watch in a day? Like the whole day is gone. Like you have literally sat there and watched motivational video after motivational video after, and you're just like, podcasts or listening. You're like, oh, that's a great idea. I should have did that. I should do that. And it's just like, we can become so stagnant and so dependent on constantly needing to be motivated when the truth is we got to get some systems in place. We got to get some discipline. We got to find people that are also like get shit done type of people, because if your whole circle are folks that are just like floating around with a million ideas, and you know who they are, and it's a beautiful thing. It's not to be negative, but at the end of the day, like, you can't all just be out here just thinking of a million things.
Visionary, vision.
Like, you have to have a balance of both. And so thinking about, like, what is it that, as Maylin mentioned earlier, like the why? And then what do you need to actually do to accomplish the why? Now, watching the videos, and like, I'm all about that because I do it. But I have to catch myself as like, okay, how many videos do you need to listen to before you actually start working out? It's just like, girl, you want to be her. You want to be like whatever you want to be. It's just like you're sitting there watching it, eating ice cream. It's like, it's not going to work. Like, so I literally this past week, last weekend, I went to Kings Island with my family, and I ate, I didn't eat that much because it was so hot, but we had a funnel cake. I did get a funnel cake. I know, I'm so sorry. But I ate it and I was like, you better enjoy this, because if you're for real, tomorrow is like go time. And I started doing evening walks, like even, and actually yesterday I was looking forward. I had to go to an event and it was getting late. I didn't get home till about 8:30 and it was starting to get dark. And I was like, you're going to do this 30 minutes. And I'm so glad that I did. And so now it's just about like, okay, I just need to make it a priority. And then at the end of the day, I think many of us just kind of get stuck in that space of, constantly seeking validation, seeking motivation, but then really not putting as much energy into creating a discipline, creating habits, creating a circle or an environment where you can actually be productive in the way that you want to be productive. And which ties really great into chapter 2 of the book called Clear the Air. And it's really about, keeping your headspace, making sure that you're not harboring onto negative thoughts, the wrong types of routines, the wrong types of disciplines, in order for you to really step into the person that you want to be, whether it's, maybe you have a goal to be a better sister, a better mom, a better spouse, a better employee. Like, if that's really what your goal is, like going back to really sitting with the why. All right, I got the why. All right, what do I need to actually move this work forward? Mm-hmm. I would have to say, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I would say the biggest piece of it is mindset. Mm-hmm. If your mindset is holding on by a thread and you're like, I don't really think this is going to happen. I don't really think I'm going to write the book. I don't think I'm going to really get the promotion. I don't think he really liked me. If that's truly where your mindset is, in this merry-go-round of negativity all the time, or being pessimistic, or that is where I believe you have to spend the most amount of time in terms of creating a new discipline, a new habit, because that mindset piece, you could have all the opportunity, all the gifts in the world, but if you don't believe in yourself and you don't bet on you, you will be in a merry-go-round of kind of the what ifs, I believe, for an extended period of time.
And I love that you have said that a couple of times, I got to bet on me, we got to bet on us, bet on you. And that has been a tagline or a mantra that gets me unstuck sometimes, because I'm like, yo, you got to do this. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's time to bet on you. I'm like, all right, I have your voice. Like, it's not a sick of me. No, I love her. Like, but it is the truth. Like, sometimes you need that voice. And this is why, as you were saying this, I'm not a therapist either, so talk to your people.
Right.
But I have read this and I have heard this. Watching the videos and doing all of this knowledge seeking, because I don't know, if you go through my credit cards, you will know how many courses I have bought. Mm-hmm. You will know how many courses I have purchased. Yeah. Looking for that thing that's going to inspire me and helping me get to the next step. And some have been very helpful. Yeah. If I finish them. But I had to get to the point that I had to tell myself, you are not allowed to buy one more course yet until you apply the amazing knowledge that you purchase. Now, I had to tell that to myself, because I'm very big about seeking knowledge and grabbing the knowledge and absorbing the knowledge, and sometimes lacking taking the action. Yeah. So when we were writing this, once again, our thing was, you read this chapter, it inspired you. Now take action. Now reflect, pause, reflect, and take the action, right? And we were very intentional about that, because we know that if you don't have an accountability partner, we know that if you don't have someone to help you, guide you, support you, cheer you on, sometimes staying discipline is hard if you don't feel like you have a guide to do that. Yeah. So we're hoping to create that community for everybody. We hope to, as we're doing this and we're sharing this with you guys, that you come across, we are developing some things that we're going to share soon that are going to help you be part of a community. Your surrounding, your environment is so important, and we talk about that in the book. But if you want to go somewhere and the people that you're with don't want to go there, right? Or they're not ready, or they don't have the capacity to get there, you are going to get stuck. And if you are the smartest person in the room, you need to run to a different room. I don't feel... my ego, I have checked my ego. I no longer feel so excited to be the one with all the answers. I don't feel excited about being the one that everybody comes to. If I'm in a room and I'm not learning, if I'm in a room and I don't feel like I'm growing, I'm not comfortable in that room anymore. Yeah. I'm not comfortable in that environment anymore. I want to be somewhere where I'm growing, where people are pouring into me, and where I feel like I have people that are looking to get to the next level as well. Right. Like whatever that be, monetarily, spiritual, whatever the case may be, that's important to me. Mm-hmm. But the reason why we get so excited about watching the videos, because it's like endorphins, right? Dopamine. Like you're like, oh, I watched it, I did it. Or when you say, I'm going to do this, you didn't do it, but you now feel so good. You don't have to do it because you feel so good already at the moment. You feel great. So something that happens chemically, like you say, your mindset. So I think when we read the book, we didn't tell a lot of people. And the reason was because we didn't want to get to that point where we tell everybody and we didn't write the book. So we're like, no, let's just do it and then tell it, right? And we were really good about doing the work, getting everything done. And then now a lot of you just heard about it and then launching it. And now it's out here for the world. But if we had just gotten excited about the idea and not taking any action, then you won't be reading this amazing book. You won't even be hearing us speaking about this. Now, Clearing the Air, there's a piece in here in the book that I'm going to read to you because I really like it. And this has the butterfly. I'm going to show you again. Okay, so the butterfly kind of shows like what I say as a thought. And then the water droplet is Christina. As a nice reminder. And then so it says, so clearing the air. Clearing the air can be different for you. Maybe you need to let go of that story that's holding you back, or letting go of habits that no longer serve you. It could also be about speaking your voice and standing for what you believe. I used to believe that staying quiet was the high road, that if I stay silent, I was keeping the peace. But over time, I realized that I was just avoiding the storm, a storm that was already brewing inside me. You have to read the rest and the book.
I love that. It's so funny because I was literally about to tell you, I was like, I feel like our reflections in this chapter are just they're bomb, right? And I mean, it's not just because we wrote them, but because it's so on topic. And it's so funny because you were talking about like the mindset and on page 25, right at the, before my reflection in the book, we have here, to move forward, you must be willing to release the past. This doesn't mean forgetting it, as there's wisdom in acknowledging history. Sometimes you can't release the past because you are resentful of it. Taking a moment to thank your past for the lessons it's brought you and for helping you to arrive at this moment is essential to your growth. And then in my reflection, I wrote, there was a season in my life when I held on to resentment like it was armor. I thought I was protecting myself, whereas you heard Maylin say, taking the high road, she felt that was the way to keep peace. So I thought I was protecting myself, shielding my heart from more hurt. But in reality, I was only blocking my own blessings and robbing myself of peace. I carried the weight of childhood trauma for years, and I didn't fully understand how deeply those early wounds had embedded themselves into my mindset, my self-worth, and my spirit. The fear, the anger, and the silence, it all became a part of my internal dialogue. And because I never gave those feelings a space to breathe or to be healed, they followed me into adulthood. Later in business and in leadership, I encountered similar situations that reopened those wounds. People who had betrayed me, misused my trust, or spoke against me. For years, just hearing their names or seeing their faces would trigger something in me. My whole energy would shift. I smiled through it, but inside I was unsettled. That's when I realized I was giving them power over my mood, my day, my thoughts, and the cost was too high. So I made a choice. I chose forgiveness, not for them, but for me. And so it's interesting because a big part of that inner work, that mindset work, as you've heard, it can be tied to so many things. Childhood, trauma, relationships, and those experiences, you would be so surprised how they show up in everyday life. You think like, oh, that was a long time ago.
I'm healed.
Like, girl, you're not healed. And the reality is that we're so stuck on, just trying to push through, not realizing that those experiences really impact how you live your everyday life, how certain situations do trigger a different side of you, or how certain smells or even there's so many things that are all linked together. And so I think a big part of, as you'll read throughout chapter 2, is really about spending time on that inner work, that mindset work, because you can have all the degrees,
all the money.
You could be the most beautiful person in the world. You could be, you could have a lot of friends, but if internally you are struggling and internally you really don't believe that you're worthy, that you're qualified, that you're seen, that you can do it, then you will begin to feel so frustrated and disconnected. And really at the end of the day, all you needing to do is really sit with yourself, get the professional help. Now, I'm not saying suffer in silence. Like, at the end of the day, you got to find therapists, mental, mentors, coaches, find an outlet that's going to help you really dissect and process that. But not one person is meant to like battle through this alone, but you have to address it.
You have to face it. And I took me a while to understand that you're never 100% healed. Just like grief never 100% leaves you. I feel like you learn how to, overcome certain things, but there's still things that could be triggering. And it's how do you handle, so maybe in the past you will be aggressive or I'll be quiet, where now you learn a way to deal with those triggers in a different way, in a healthier way. And that's what, to me, that journey of healing is really a lifelong journey of healing, because just when you thought you healed from that thing, something else like blindsides you and it hurts, right? Like maybe you get betrayed again, or maybe something happens and you're like, man, that thing will bring that hurt right back up. And it will try to reaffirm all those stories that you were telling yourself to begin with. But when you have done the work, when you have work on your mindset and you have work on how you handle things, and you have how the supports that Christina talked about, whether it be a supportive group, whether it be a peer group that have gone through similar things, whether it be a therapist, a coach for different wellness things. Once you're done through that, then you can handle that new experience, because it's an experience. You can handle a new experience in a different way.
Yeah.
You don't have to handle it the way that you used to handle it. And not even being upset of how you used to handle it, because the other day I was reflecting on how I reacted to something a couple years ago, and I said, man, like that was out of character for you. Like, how did you even do that? Like, how would you lower yourself to that level for someone that wasn't worth it, right? That you would go and lash out this way because of whatever the case was of what happened to me. And then I was like, no. I'm not about to beat up myself about this. What I did at that moment was what I needed to do to survive that moment. I needed to survive that moment. That was how I was grabbing to dear life, to survive that moment. So is the past. I thank myself for doing what I could to survive and overcome that moment. But now that I have other tools in my pocket, I can face situations like that in a very different way. But I am not about to beat up myself for something that I did when that was what, at that moment, I believe was the best thing to do for myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people have to clear that because they're still beating themselves up for actions they took.
Right.
Years ago.
Yeah.
When you were trying to survive. So I don't erase the part of me that wasn't like maybe what I'm proud of today. I am grateful to that person that I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, yesterday, because that version of me was doing everything in her power to keep me safe, to help me survive, and to help me get to the moment that I am today. And once you're able to get to that moment where you can look back, and I'm not saying you have to be proud, right, of some of the things, but you can be like, yo, like, I want to thank you, self, right, for doing what you had to do. And now I got us. And now I'm going to take us with this knowledge, these tools that I have. I'm going to take us to this next level in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. And as we're closing out this episode, I want to highlight what you'll find in the book is that at every end of every chapter, Maylin and I have provided you a segment of the book that is called Pause, Reflect, and React. So there are several different writing prompts, breathing techniques. Each chapter has something a little bit different that will help you, provide you some tips and tools on really how to process the information we talked about in that particular chapter. And so you'll find some really great opportunities to sit with this information. And as Maylin mentioned, we want to help you do the work. We want to help. We don't want to just tell you like you need that, but we want to give you some tips and some starting tips and points to do the work. And so we'll be excited to see and hear more about your thoughts and reflections as you start to read the book and, finish the book and kind of what the journey has meant for you. And certainly, as we like to say all the time here at True Print for Life, it's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.